Viví 4 meses en Barcelona en 2017. Hoy voy a hablar en inglés británico real sobre mi experiencia. Soy Shandon, profesor nativo de inglés británico, y este podcast es para latinos que quieren entrenar su oído para hablar inglés con confianza y conseguir mejores trabajos en el Reino Unido. Empecemos. Welcome to episode 33 of the podcast. I hope you're well. If this is your first time listening, thanks for joining. If you've listened before, welcome back to the podcast and thanks for continuing to listen to the podcast. Today, I want to speak to you about one of my experiences traveling. I've been very lucky in my life and I've already traveled a lot. I've been to more than 20 countries so far in my life. And in future episodes of the podcast, I'm going to speak about some of these other experiences as well. But today, I want to speak about one of my favorite cities in the world and the country that I've lived in longest apart from England. That city is Barcelona. And the country, of course, is Spain. So I lived in Barcelona for 4 months. And I want to tell you why I moved to Barcelona, what I did while I was there, and some of the highlights of my experience there as well. So let's get started. I moved to Barcelona in 2017. I decided to travel there, to live there for 4 months. But why did I do this? Let's start with that. I didn't just decide to move to Barcelona for no reason. I studied Spanish at university. And in England, when you study a language, in your 3rd year of university, you have a year abroad. This is a year where you spend time living and working in a country or countries where the language you're studying is spoken. Because I studied Spanish, I had the opportunity to live and work or study in Spanish-speaking countries. And I decided that first I wanted to go to Barcelona. Why did I decide this? In my 2nd year at uni, I studied Catalan, the language that is spoken in Catalonia, which is the region of Spain where Barcelona is. I studied Catalan for 1 year and I loved it. So I decided that I wanted to practice and further improve my Catalan on my year abroad, as well as practicing my Spanish. So, I went to Barcelona for 4 months and I went and worked in an office where only Catalan was spoken. In the office, they didn't speak any Spanish. The people were able to speak Spanish, but they chose not to. They chose to only speak in Catalan in the office. So I got the opportunity to work in this office in central Barcelona. And I worked for 4 to 5 hours a day from Monday to Friday. What did I do there? I spent time translating different texts from Catalan and from Spanish into English. The work was quite easy, to be honest. It was interesting, but fairly easy. It was really great experience for my Catalan. I learned so much Catalan and I really improved my skills in the language. By the end of my time in Barcelona, I felt quite confident in my Catalan. Of course, I wasn't fluent, but I felt much more confident. Especially at the start, it was very challenging for me. Especially when I had to go for lunch with my colleagues. We all went out for lunch every day, and especially at the beginning, I really struggled to understand my colleagues. They were all very, very friendly and very helpful as well, but it was very difficult, and it took time to get used to their accents and to learn all of the vocabulary as well. But it was a really great experience working for 4 months in Barcelona. As I've said, Barcelona is one of my favourite cities, and I absolutely love it. But what did I love about my 4 months spent in Barcelona? First of all, this was the first time that I lived abroad. It was a completely new experience for me and a completely unique experience. So that meant straight away that I loved it. It was great to have freedom to explore and to live my life alone in a completely new place. Another thing is that Barcelona is an amazing city to walk around. It has incredible architecture around the whole city. Any of the streets you walk along are really cool and really impressive. There's a lot of architecture in the city from Antoni Gaudí, who's a very famous man in Barcelona because of the works he's created, including the Sagrada Familia. That was his creation. So he also has lots of other buildings and statues, things like that, around the city. Barcelona is a much smaller city than London. I'm born and bred in London. I've lived in London my whole life, so I'm used to living in a very big city. Because Barcelona is a lot smaller, it feels like a very easy city to walk around. And during my 4 months there, I spent many afternoons just walking around the city because I loved doing it. Barcelona is also a city on the coast. The sea is right next to Barcelona. I love cities that are next to water, whether it's the sea or a river, like London, for example. I think that cities by water are very relaxing, and I love walking along a river or by the sea. So that's another thing that I loved about Barcelona. Also, in Barcelona, I met some really great people. First of all, Spanish people, or Spaniards, who were my colleagues in the office that I spoke about before. But I also met lots of different English people who were also there in Barcelona to learn Spanish. And I made some great friends during my time there. I also want to mention some specific places or things that I loved in Barcelona. First of all, Ciutadella Park. This is a park in the east of Barcelona, and it's really, really cool. Particularly the amazing fountain that they have there with lots of different statues. It's really, really impressive. The second place that I loved in Barcelona was a place called Churreria Trebol. So it's a place that sells churros. Anybody that knows me knows that I have a very sweet tooth, which means that I love to eat things that are sweet, like biscuits, cakes, sweets, and churros. So I used to go to this place, Churreria Trebol, which was by my office, a couple of times a week. Their churros were delicious. The final place that I want to mention is the Carmel bunkers. These are bunkers in Barcelona that have incredible views of the city. You have to go quite far up to get to them, but when you get there, it's worth the effort because you have incredible views of the city and you can see the sea from the bunkers. And if you go to Barcelona, I really recommend going to the Carmel bunkers. So that's a summary of my time in Barcelona, the 4 months that I spent there. I could talk forever about my time in Barcelona and the city as a whole because I love it. But those are some of the key points about why I love Barcelona. If you've not been, I highly recommend that you go there. It's an incredible place and you won't regret it. Thanks for listening and I'll see you next time. Bye. Gracias por escuchar este episodio de mi diario de Inglés Británico. Si vives en el Reino Unido y sientes que tu inglés te está frenando profesionalmente, te invito a hacer una evaluación de fluidez gratuita conmigo. En la sesión, veo cómo hablas inglés ahora, identifico qué te está bloqueando y te explico qué necesitas trabajar para expresarte con más claridad y confianza. Hay plazas limitadas, así que reserva tu evaluación ahora a través del link en la descripción del episodio. Gracias y nos vemos pronto. Bye.